Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is a regular board meeting, the Lammersville Unified School District Board of Education. Tonight's Wednesday, October 2nd, 2019. I call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. This time I'd like to call Altamont Elementary School to the mic. Our students here are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then they have a short presentation. I believe Mr. Yeager's coming up as well.
Okay, yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, members of the board, Trustee Clement, Trustee Pombo, President Balzerini, Clerk Lampel, Superintendent Dr. Nicholas. Congratulations, new CBO of our district, Ms. Grijalva, and Executive Assistant to the Superintendent, Ms. Balzerini. We are very honored to be here this evening to present to you our ASB student government. They have a presentation they would like to present to tell you what's going on this year at Altamont with our ASB in year 6.0. Take it away, team.
Hello, board members. Thank you for having us here today. We are all excited to tell you our ideas and our events for this school year. I am the President, Jacob. This is the Vice President, Katerina. Our Secretary, Hamza. Our Commissioner of Public Relations, Madden. Our Commissioner of Activities, Daniel. Our Commissioner of Character and Kindness, Shayla. And our primary representative, Kahina. Area A North State Leadership Conference. At our leadership conference, we heard from motivational speakers. The two special speakers that we heard from is Kevin Bracey and Scott Bakovich. Kevin Bracey told us three basic but important things. Everyone has a story, everyone has a choice, and everyone has a dream. Scott Bakovich told us to treat people with respect and kindness. We were able to network and make connections with leaders from other schools. We made connections with people from other schools that we don't know and conversations with them. Gain valuable knowledge and resources to enhance our school culture. We did a few activities at the end, and they talked about things we can do for our school and how to make things such as assemblies more fun. Here are some pictures from the leadership conference we had yesterday.
These are all of Altamont's activities and events. As you can see on the screen, the activities are the sole responsibility of Altamont's ASB. At Altamont, we try to incorporate all staff and students in our activities. We create fun and exciting events that all student body can contribute in.
We have many donations that happen in Altamont during the year. We have Patriots Day for 9/11 and give donations to the firefighters. We have Boo Grams, Santa Grams, and Valentine's Grams for each season. We sell Panther Pride water bottles, sales on field day and other special events. We have the Penguin Patch. We have Spirit Wear drives, which happen multiple times a year to show our school culture. We have canned food drive for Thanksgiving for families in need, and we have a district dance coming up.
here at Altamont, fundraising is very important since it allows us to bring together students and teachers in a fun and creative way. And a lot of our funds go towards classroom materials, which allow our teachers to teach their students in a more interactive and fun way because they're allowed to put that money towards projects and parties and whatnot.
Building school culture is very important to every school community. But what is school culture? School culture is the relationships between students, staff members, and teachers. If the relationship between a student, staff member, or teacher isn't very well, it can affect the way they learn, even if the relationship doesn't have anything to do with learning.
Let's say one day at school, your friends Patricia and Bailey get into an argument at recess. You have language arts after recess today, which is a very hard class for you. You have been close friends with Patricia and Bailey for a very long time, but they have been getting into arguments for many years, and they are no longer friends. Today, you, Bailey, and Patricia are a group for your assignment in language arts class. But Patricia and Bailey, since they got put into an argument, they do not want to do their work because they were put down. You are left to do the work alone because you don't want it to affect your grade. That shows by not having good school culture that it can affect the people that are not in any conflict at all.
A big part of school culture is being kind to each other. The problem is that there are kids all ages today that are not doing that. Instead of being kind to each other, these kids can be rude and disrespectful to each other. To solve this problem, we came up with the idea of Non-Bullying Week. This week will be about teaching others to be kind to each other and stand up for themselves. This week will also be about promoting resilience, which is the ability to recover quickly from difficulties, or in other words, toughness. Our goal is that at the end of Non-Bullying Week, everyone will know how to stand up for themselves, be resilient, and that the amount of bullying in Altamont Elementary will go down. By the amount of bullying in Altamont Elementary going down, students will be able to focus more on their learning, and teachers will be able to focus more on their subjects that they are teaching. By them being able to focus more instead of on other projects going on outside of school, for example, drama or bullying, it will become a better learning environment.
So in conclusion, when you are disrespectful to your peers, teachers, or other staff, it can lead to a bad school community and culture. Therefore, let's make Altamont School a better place by treating everybody with kindness and respect. We will create a better place to learn in all grades and become a better school community. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, everyone, for inviting us here today and listening to what we have to say.
Any questions from the board?
Outstanding.
Mr. President, can I make a short comment?
Please.
So you went to a conference with Scott Bakovich. Well, his father was a mentor of mine. And his father was an exceptional football coach and inspiration for young men and students in his teaching career. So something you can all take from that. When I was about your age, I started working with Mike Bakovich, Scott's father. And I apply some of the lessons that he taught me when I was young about pride in community, about working with the team, about setting goals and achieving them. So you guys get to think about, as you go through your education, the mentors you have and applying those to the kids you're going to come across in your life. So it's nice to hear that the Bakovich family is inspiring young people moving into now 4 or 5 decades. So take those lessons from Scott Bakovich and apply them, because that family legacy is a truly exceptional one. Thank you.
And on behalf of everyone here on the board, we'd like to say thank you very much for coming tonight, and also thank you for your leadership on your school site. Thank you. We appreciate it.
So, outstanding job, team. You fill us with lots of Panther pride, and I also need to recognize our ASB leaders. They are Miss Tammy Hurst over here and Miss Jennifer Graham Gregson over here. They do an outstanding job leading our crew. So thank you once again.
As we transition, I failed to mention, everyone here would please silence your cell phones, and also note that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed. Approval, roll call. sorry. Gotcha.
Matthew Balzerini,
Here.
Colin Clements,
Here.
Ann Bonilla,
Absent.
Sharon Lampel,
Here.
David Pombo,
Here.
Ruxar Mohammed.
Absent.
Approval and or corrections of the agenda?
There's one. We are removing calendar item F. The DLAC date was changed and was already communicated to the board at the previous meeting. The DLAC meeting is on January 30th. Thank you.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion by trustee Clements, second by trustee Lampel. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Recognition. Staff report.
Yeah, I'd like to call Assistant Superintendent Heather Sherburne up, and she's going to be the hostess for our festivities tonight, and we can have the board come down to pass out the medals. Please.
Good evening, trustees, Dr. Nicholas, all of our parents and family and friends that are out here in the audience. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We apologize for the packed room. It is a wonderful problem that we have, that so many students in our district have earned the recognition for having a perfect score on their CASP state testing in either math or English language arts, or in many cases both, which is just truly amazing. So we are super excited. As packed as this room is tonight, this is only half. We did half at the previous meeting too. So we have about 104 tonight that are receiving recognition, and we had over 100 at our last board meeting who also received recognition. So a big thank you to our district leadership, our site leadership, our teachers, our students, and to all of you for all of the hard work and support that you've done. So I want to give you a round of applause. So with that, the way we're going to do this tonight is we're going to have the principal come up, and they're going to announce the award. They'll get a certificate and a medal for either English language arts, math, or both. They may get 2 medals. Then they'll come around, they'll shake hands around this way. Then they're going to go out this side door over here, and we're going to ask parents to meet them outside of the room. So we know it's really packed and everything, and we appreciate your cooperation. What we'll do is after they read the name, we would like to do a 1 clap. So we'll say, you know, student Susie Smith, and we'll do a 1 clap, and we'll be good to go. That way everybody gets a little recognition, and we're not here until tomorrow sometime. Okay? All right. So thank you very much. I would like to invite up Principal Buzatil for the first one.
Good evening. Tonight I am pleased to introduce to you for recognition Marilyn Pope.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, our next school site is Altamont Elementary, and we have Principal Yeager, who's going to read the names for his students. These students are receiving recognition for both language arts and math, so they'll be receiving 2 medals.
Our first student is Joshua Cherikou. Elson Phillip. Next, we have Sidhu Sanajapali. Leah Albert Tansinko. Ritika Thakur.
Okay, this award is for English language arts. Math medals down.
Shreya Lakoju. Nada Nabkil. Sean Wynn. And Nathan Zachariah.
And last for math.
Khan Baza. Ziray Chu. Gabrielle Danqua. Braden Duffy. Michael Gazingan. Navita Gunda. Prerna Moniker. Shravan Paladugala. Murat Polat. Shanze Shahid. Shreya Subramani. And Zoe Tabuli. Panther Pride.
Next, we have Principal Wingo, and she'll be starting off with students who received a perfect score in both. You want to read it off? Okay.
All right, thank you for having us here to celebrate these awesome students. Maxwell Balbin, Sanvi Banerjee, Yash Diggy. I don't think he came in, but Oswin Han. Pinray Ryan Huang. Renita Justin. Olivia Saki. Ananya Sinha. Siona Sinha. These students received a perfect score in English Language Arts. Sebastian Arana. Prithvi Aurora. Sophia Garcia. Anthony Hicks. Evelyn Holtz. Not here. Okay. Divya Mata. Carol Morfin. Zach Nazarino. Not to be outdone by her brother, Zoe Nazarino. Avinash Nukala. Nayeli Pleskotch. Ina Silva. Daryl Sinito. We are on math, yes, I'm sorry. Shri Ganager. Jacob Hashimi. Anirudh Jayaraman. Nanki Kaur. Claire Kim. Ishan Mashiraju. Andrew Mai. Paris Marok. Natalie Navarro. Turdad Rajali. Justel Valdez. And Oscar Walensky. All right.
She came in.
Oh, Renita Justin. Yes. She is good at math. All right.
Wait, did you get the math? You need the math. All right, next we have Hanson and their awards. We're starting with both.
Thank you. Receiving perfect scores on both ELA and math, we have Chaitanya Chanapati, Tanish Dutta, Sahasra Karamkanda, Jishnu Nayak, Sanoja Sobani, William Su. Next are Hanson students with ELA perfect scores. Gatik Alwadi, Aradhana Anandkumar, Amy L. Sheikh, Sia Gupta, Aditi Kolapara, Nafisa Mustafa, Sai Muthukumar, Priyansh Nath, Ananya Reddy, Reem Safin, Rania Zafir, and accepting for her daughter Ming Zhang is her mom. And for math, Oluwatomisona Ayankali, Sai Harish Balamugaran, Vaishnavi Dalipala, Aditya Danod, Sadhana Gandhi, Amog Janganur, Nishant Karamkanda, Guvan Siddharth Kadamaneni, Gautam Lakshmanarajan, Jayanth Lakshmipathy, Shreyas Muddy, Adinath Pradeep, Ridhima Seelam, Anaina Thomas, Muhammad Ayub Umar Malik, Pavan Yadanapati.
We have a student that just arrived that we're going to recognize perfect score in math and ELA, Ritika Thakur. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Here's your other medal. Good job.
Keep up the good work. Good job.
Laura's just saying to wait a second.
Outside in the parking lot. All right, and certainly last but not least, we have Wickland School with Principal Ryan Gonzalez, recognizing students with perfect scores in both.
All right, good evening, everyone. First, we have Jathan Badapati. What about the card? And we have Amy Trin. And now for English Language Arts, we have Johan Nain, Simra Rasa, Zohair Syed, Sydney Taves. And now for mathematics, we have David Alex, Justin Wong, Jaideep Panu, Rohan Prasant, Jennifer Thomas, Ashley Varghese. Congratulations to our scholars.
Yes, sir.
Oh, do we have another?
card. Did you want a bit medal? Good. Okay.
You can pass that down. There's one down here.
Jackie's got one?
Kirk.
Okay, moving on. Let me see if there's anyone here for public comment. There's blue cards in the back. We ask that you fill it out, bring it up to the front, please. Committee reports, item A, District Advisory Committee, Trustee Lempel.
We have our next meeting. The date is, I think we have to change the date.
It's January 30th now, right? That's the first one? No.
No, there was.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
DAC in.
Later in the meeting, we
haven't
do it.
decided yet, right?
Yeah,
So there hasn't been a meeting yet.
Very good. Item B, District English Language Advisory Committee.
We met on Thursday, September 19th. The attendance by parents and district staff was great. We reviewed 2019-2020 reclassification criteria, correlation between CASP and MAP scores, English learner enrollment numbers and proportions. And I wanted to report into the board that on the CASP, the English language learners are 12 points above the standard, while students overall are 39.7 points above the standard. But English learners improved by 7.8 points overall compared to 3.2% for students overall, which means they're closing the opportunity gap, the achievement gap, which we are very proud of. And on the CASP, I learned that ELA reclassified English learners are 55.4 points above the standard, while students overall are 33 points above the standard. So once they reclassify, they outperform students overall, which I think is incredibly great.
Very much.
And I saved the best for last. We had the opportunity to congratulate 58 students on being reclassified that night. The next meeting is scheduled for January 30th, 2020.
Thank you. Item C, Education Committee, Trustee Pombo.
Our next meeting is December 3rd at 6:30 here in the boardroom.
Thank you. Item D, Facilities Committee, Trustee Clements.
Yes, we met on September 26th. We reviewed prior minutes and facility usage of the normal business. We are short one member, but we are working through that with district staff. We discussed recent meetings with Brightview concerning state of fields and grounds, and I wanted to take this opportunity to thank district staff for stepping in because there was some issues with that service, and I wanted to thank district staff for stepping in and their patience and their extra effort. The committee considered an offer by athletic boosters to donate funds to the district to have spirit and/or athletic-themed murals painted in the two niches outside the gymnasium where the food kiosk is. And the committee reached a consensus to forward this to the board for consideration. And we also considered a district request to use facility fee funds to install a foul ball barrier along the first baseline of the varsity baseball field, as the land plan has the residences along that first baseline pretty close to that field. And the district reached a consensus to forward that to board for consideration as well.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the work that the committee does. And the issue with Brightview, I think we need to think outside the box, because I've heard from parents complaints. It's an issue, so.
Staff is looking at other options as well. They're not just sitting back and
I'm glad to hear it. I did watch the meeting.
accepting subpar work.
No, I appreciate the report. I appreciate the willingness to work with them, but we need results. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank
Absolutely. Oh, one last thing. Next meeting is December 19th.
Great, thank you. Item E, Policy Committee, Trustee Clements.
We have a new batch that we will be bringing forward to the board. I'm sorry.
Very well, thank you. Item F, Safety Committee, nothing to report. Item G, Wellness, Trustee Pombo.
Our next meeting is October 9th at 3:30 here in the boardroom.
Moving on to Governing Board reports, Trustee Clements.
Other than attending the DLAC and Facilities Committee meetings, I have nothing to report.
Okay, Trustee Pombo.
My wife and I donated blood at the Mountain House High School blood drive last week. And I also attended the homecoming parade, and then later in the evening attended both the JV and varsity games. JV won their game. The varsity, although they fought hard, they were defeated by the visitors from Johansson. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Lampel?
So I had attended my first meeting of the Facilities Committee. Very interesting process, and I really appreciated the committee's assistance to bring me up to speed. I wanted to get to the homecoming game, and I got stuck at work, but thank you, Trustee Pombo, for keeping me updated on the game via text.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. I have nothing to report tonight. Receiving public comment. Is there any public comment? Okay, moving on. Consent items for consideration. Item A, the board meeting minutes from the regular meeting of September 18th. Item B, ratification of resignations. Item C, the updated 2019-2020 fundraisers. Item D, ratification of school-sponsored overnight trips. Item E, acceptance of a donation, $1,484.45 from Lammersville School Foundation for drama projector equipment at Lammersville Elementary School. We can pull any item for discussion or vote as a whole.
I'll move for approval of consent items as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by trustee Lampel, second by trustee Clements. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to district administrative reports. Item A is the superintendent's report.
Yes, I just have a brief report tonight. We have a couple of pictures from the warehouse, which is being erected right now. So there are really two contracts to the project. The first is the putting up of the steel. The second will be a different version where the prefabricated walls come in and they put it up. So that's what it looked like as of 2 days ago. And it's moving along fine and right on its timelines. And I believe it's possible. Oh, we thought we had aerials of Cordis, but we'll just use that as a teaser. And Mr. President, that is my report.
Thank you. Item B, district maintenance and operations report. Mr. LeGrand.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. Today's actual National Custodian Appreciation Day. If you didn't know, now you know. So. Just want to express my thanks to the custodial staff. Ari and I went out this morning and we had a little goodie, toolbox looking thing we gave to all the custodians, and we left it for them this morning. I was able to attend the end of the construction meetings today for Cordis and the DO and PDC and for the warehouse. You saw the picture of the warehouse. Actually, the west wall was complete today. It's all filled in on the warehouse. Everything else is moving along nicely. The DO is finally cleared. So we have a bunch of work orders to do some things here, hang some things, move some things. We will get on that at the end of this week. Last Monday was a department in-service for us and all the district. We reviewed a number of topics. We talked about supplies, department procedures, grounds, use facilities. We went over where all the utility shutoffs were for each campus. We had a real long session on equipment maintenance. Larry led most of that discussion. We brought in the equipment hands-on, showed them exactly what they should be checking daily, monthly, weekly, that kind of stuff. That lasted well over an hour. After lunch, we had a lead custodian meeting, and then before everyone left for the day, they got 3 new uniform shirts, all the classified custodians did. Last week, I completed all the school site inspections for the SARC. Using the FIT, the facility inspection tool. I finished inputting all the data this afternoon. I uploaded it to where Ruby told me to upload it to. And whatever that thing was, I just uploaded it there. All the schools were in the good range, and the good range is 90 to 98.99. All of our schools were in the 96 to 98 percentile. So I'm not going to tell you which one was highest, but they're all within 2 percentage points of each other. Last Thursday, I was at the Facilities Committee meeting at the DO. Friday the 20th, Thor and I met with Brightview, as you guys have just talked about. Been a little bit disappointed since the meeting. Yesterday was the first contact I've had from them since the meeting, and it took well over a week. So they're going to fix the stuff on Saturday at Wickland. It's been broken for a while. Hopefully things get better in that department. Also on that Friday, I walked all the sites with a new pest management control company, potentially. They have a proposal they're going to be with them next Wednesday and review it in my office. If it makes sense, we'll move forward with it. If it doesn't, we won't. So, on Thursday the 19th, all the bleacher seats were installed at Wickland in the multipurpose room. A little bit of a hiccup. There was a volleyball game at 3:30. We didn't know. We thought we had the gym till 4:30. So we all jumped in and knocked it out. We finished at 3:22, 8 minutes for the game. We barely made it. The parents were waiting patiently, somewhat patiently outside, and they came in last minute and got the game off on time. I got received confirmation on the stage curtains. They're being fabricated now. It looks like it's not going to be till first part of December till they get here, but they are being fabricated.
That's Cuesta?
It's Altamont, Bethany, Hanson, and Cuesta. Okay. 4 sites. Yeah. The door parts for the gym were delayed for the high school. They just came in this week, so hoping to have the contractor out here next week to finish those. I'm looking forward to getting that done. It's been on my plate for a very long time, so hopefully that gets done. Tomorrow I have a follow-up budget meeting with Gloria and Thor, and we also have a conference call, 3 of us, with Turner to talk about the warranty items that are still outstanding. There's probably 20 at least. They're still on my list that haven't been cleared. And this Saturday, the cameras are getting installed in the gyms at the high school, in both gyms. And that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board? Thank you.
Did I do better or worse than Thor did last?
Thanks for the presentation.
I really want to know. Thank you.
Thanks.
Moving on to action items. Item A, consider approval of 2019-2020 inter and intra-district transfer requests. There's no report, so can I have a motion?
Move to approve the 2019-2020 inter and intra-district transfer requests.
I'll second.
I have a motion by trustee Clement, second by trustee Lampel. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item B, consider approval of second reading and adoption of updated board bylaws. I don't know about anybody else, but I brought some changes with me. I finally had an opportunity to read them all, and have a couple things I'd like to review with the board. If you guys want to bring up the PDF, I went through and actually wrote down page numbers and stuff. The first that I have, I'm sorry, does anybody have anything else? Any changes or just questions?
No, well, no, go ahead.
If you look at page 17,
Where does the page number come up?
it's on the very,
If you put the cursor towards the top,
What's that?
it will drop down.
it is, yeah, I will.
Oh, I got it.
It's bylaw 9100, organization. And it says, if I can find it here. In the middle of the page, it says, at this meeting, the board shall. I would like to change the language in item number 4 to read, the committee assignments are being recommended to, it should read that appoint a board representative to the San Joaquin County School Boards Association. That's the current practice. And then deal with committees in a later section. Anyone have a problem with that?
No, in fact, I had that same.
Okay. That's pretty much all we do on an annual basis. You good with that, Colin? All right. So the next one I had was page 22, and it's board
Do I
bylaw.
want to go page by page?
For me, that I am. That's the next section. Why, did you have something in
I
between?
have something on, yes,
Okay.
on page 19, I believe. The second paragraph on page 19 reads, "The term of office for board members elected in regular elections shall be 4 years, commencing on the second Friday in December following their election." And this year it doesn't matter because nobody's being elected. In the future, we typically have our December board meeting around the 10th or 12th in that. And if they don't officially become board members until the second Friday, that means we would have to go later in December with our meeting. So we'd have to go to the third Wednesday.
Does this language reflect, there was a new law, I think a year or two ago, about when, okay, so this is the change, okay.
I think we discussed this
Yeah,
when it came through.
yeah.
So when we set calendar for 2020, we'll just have to remember, or 2020, 21. Yeah. Okay, that was all.
Great. Okay, so 22, page 22, Board Bylaw 9121. Not a fan of the new CSBA system here. Under President, towards the end, it says, "The President shall participate in the California School Boards Association's Board President Workshop." My recommendation is to add language, "if they have not previously attended."
Yes, that makes sense.
I understand CSBA's plug in their sample policy to get us to attend their program every year, but I don't believe that's a cost that the district has to incur.
Well, then can we say may? Because if you say, if they haven't previously attended, we're saying that in order for them to be president, they have to have already done it or attend, and maybe they can't.
I like changing it to may as well. Yeah. Or how about,
Especially since the conference with that workshop is before people
prior.
come on board.
Agreed. Well, they have it also at the conference, it's before, but they have it right, like, they have one in February as well, if we want to go to it. Can we change the language to may? You guys like may?
Good with me.
Do may, and then also add if they have not previously attended? I mean, if they change the format of the program, I'm all for going again, but I went twice, and it was the same thing both times. I don't think we need to do it if you don't have to.
We don't want to waste people's time.
If you're president for 10 straight years, you got to go 10 straight
10 times? Yeah. Okay, the next one is page 26. Board bylaw number 9123 under clerk. Just a cleanup, it says in number 5, service presiding officer in the absence of the president and vice president, just remove and vice president, since we don't have that. I figured, might as well clean this up since we're in here doing it. Page 31.
We had discussed, sticking with that one on clerk, number 7 says act or service representative at Mountain House Community Services District. We were going to write something, or as assigned by the president, in case the clerk wasn't able to do it at some time,
We could just add as, or designee.
or designee. I don't know how we
Or-
would word it. Yeah,
We could do that, or designee.
yeah, yeah. 26,
Page 26. I'll add this on my sheet.
number 7. We just need to clean up the language so there could be someone else.
Okay. Okay, so the next one is page 31. Board bylaw 9130, board committees. My recommendation is to add language, unless otherwise directed by the board, district committee assignments will be made by the board president in July for the following school year with ratification of the board. This may be done as a consent item at a regular board meeting. Any problem with that?
That's what we do.
Okay, I have the language written down on this for you, okay.
The only difference is we don't actually have it as a consent item.
Right, we brought it as an action item, yeah, I thought,
Yeah.
I've been, in my travels for CSB, I've been talking to a lot of board members, and a lot of boards use consent for a lot of stuff. It just makes the meeting flow a lot quicker.
Cool. Good with that.
Next one I have is page 33. It's Board Bylaw 9140, Board Representatives, and it's pretty much the same thing. Addition of the following language: unless otherwise directed by the board, district committee assignments will be made by the board president in July for the following school year with ratification of the board. This may be done as a consent item at a regular board meeting. Same language, just on, these are for the district committees that we serve on. And then the last item I had was page 90. Scroll, scroll, scroll. It's Board Bylaw 9320, Meetings and Notice, and there's an exhibit, if I could ever get to it.
You said page 90?
Actually, it's not an exhibit, it's part of the policy, but in there it says, regular meetings, it said the board shall hold one regular meeting each month. I think just to be, we should change it to at least one meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to have one meeting a month, but some of you don't. That's all I have. Anyone else? Nope. No? Okay. That was painless. So with that,
Move to approve second reading and adoption of updated bylaws as amended.
Second.
motion by trustee Clement, second by trustee Pombo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Information discussion items. Item A, DARE graduation, Cuesta and Wickland Elementary.
I'd like to have Associate Superintendent Harrison come up as a brief update.
Board President Balzerini, trustees, Dr. Nicholas. The DARE graduations are always a pleasurable event that you all attend and participate in. I wanted to give you an update that the Wickland graduation is on October 24th at 6:30 p.m. and the Cuesta DARE graduation is on October 29th at 6:30 p.m. Both occur in the NPR at the school. Altamont, Bethany, Hanson, and Lammersville are not yet scheduled, but my understanding from Officer Abbs is they will be scheduled this month to start those activities at those school sites.
Unfortunately, the 24th is our board dinner for the County School Board Association, which, being the current president, I would really like our board to be there. If you could pass on to Officer Abbs, we would really like better coordination. I've asked this in multiple years now, but I would like better coordination with this so we can have board representation there. We all want to be there as much as we can, but we need to coordinate a little bit better than we are now. This has been an ongoing issue. So,
Betcha.
with consensus of the board, I'd like to, again, direct the superintendent to get it done.
Again.
Please.
We'll be assured that staff will cover that event, correct?
I can assure the board that multiple efforts in multiple ways have been made to continue with the improvement of communication, and we will continue to find regular and irregular ways to do so.
Thank you, sir. And if we could have someone from staff,
will be there.
and with our apologies to Officer Abbs.
You bet.
And, yeah. And did you have something else?
No, just that, and our apologies to Officer Ab and the Wickland fifth graders who will be graduating that evening.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. Item B, first reading of new board policy 3100.1, reserve for economic uncertainty, review of new, yeah, sorry, it says it on here twice. Staff report.
So this first read is the result of a communication that began with the San Joaquin County Office of Education and a recommendation to establish an economic uncertainty fund. It's been discussed at the last two board meetings. The intent of the fund will that it'll be built over time with some targets associated with it. It's followed models with parts of it coming from Burlingame Unified, San Mateo Series, and Manteca. This has been reviewed by a budget and finance, school finance expert, and our intent is to bring this policy back as a second read and to turn into a formal policy on October 16. And ultimately, this policy will meet the recommendation that came in the letter from the County Office of Ed. That's my report.
Any questions or comments from the board?
I mentioned it when it was just a discussion item. I would like to see in the policy some metrics as to what would give rise to a reduction. I mean, the policy calls out what the goal is, to get to 10%. And it says if we need to use it, right, that we will, but it doesn't really articulate what would trigger a usage. That may not be the consensus of the board, but I thought I would throw it out there.
I think it would be, I agree, I think it would be a good idea to have something that has parameters or something that says, this is what it's for, sort of thing.
And we don't want to handcuff. I get that the language could be difficult because we don't want to handcuff ourselves. But I guess my next comment would be, I would like to extend a cordial invitation to the unions to attend the meeting when we discuss this. And the reason is because if you'll recall, the last series of negotiations were somewhat contentious. And one of the big issues was the size of the district's reserves. And of course, the board and district staff calmly explained numerous times that the reason for those reserves were because of the growth of the district and the timing of when funds are needed to facilitate growth versus when we actually get it. And had the district or the board capitulated and given up some of those reserves at that time, which we did not believe that we could, had we reduced our reserves then, I'm going to call it prudent concern of the county that we see today would be more like alarm if we would have depleted our reserves. And so I guess what I'm saying is I would invite the unions to come and listen to the discussion about the reason for these reserves, because I don't want to have that discussion, ongoing in the future.
So I hope this doesn't sound aggressive. This is a public meeting. The unions are always invited.
I know.
Okay.
I'm specifically inviting them.
I would hesitate to handcuff us. I mean, it takes a board action to implement, to withdraw any funds out of this.
Understood.
And I fear that if we put parameters in there, at some point we could find ourselves needing to access money that does not fit the parameters. And then it would take changing the board policy, which takes more than one meeting, and then we'd be handcuffed. We'd have to change the board policy, then bring it back, and then take an action, and I worry about that.
I met with the superintendent prior, and that was a discussion we had. If there should be a trigger, how do we recognize that trigger? And that was why that it had to come to the board specifically. That was kind of part of the discussion surrounding why we did that. I don't even know where you would start. How do you create a trigger?
Excuse me, board, fellow trustees, I acknowledge that is a fine line, and it was even like, hey, the consensus may be against it. So I get it.
Yeah.
Right.
And my opinion comes from having worked at the cabinet level in a school district during the last economic downturn, where we almost did have to go into, most districts did go into their reserves. And it was obvious why. I mean, we're all suffering, not just in education.
In the opening paragraph, before it gets into the more detailed part, it was written in here, the district is committed to maintaining a prudent level of financial resources to protect against the need to reduce service levels because of temporary revenue shortfalls, unpredicted expenditures, rapid student growth, opening of new schools and facilities, or negatively impacted cash flow due to the state underfunding public education.
That's happening right now.
Fair, fair. But those would be areas where staff could bring forward a recommendation we are having unprecedented growth, and we're going to have to hire 10 teachers, which we didn't budget for, or we didn't foresee the opening of this X facility, and we're going to be we need money to do extra things. That was the intent of that line. I'm not saying it can't be changed. I'm just simply saying that was a list of titles of things that would be predictable of areas that might require board consensus or direction to say, okay, it's okay to get into that fund.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it gives the board, whoever the board may be at that time, because hopefully there's not another downturn while we're on this board. But whoever the board is, it gives them the flexibility to.
Okay. I think that works. I'm okay with that.
Okay, but this is a first reading. If you think of more and want to bring it back at our, for the next time, please do so.
No, I'm
Okay. Anything further? For this?
No, I just wanted to make sure that when you talked about like what would be reasons to do it, I wanted to point that out simply because that was the intent of that particular line.
And in regards to the statement about the union, as your board representative, I will reach out to the leadership for both organizations and express that.
Thank you.
I would think with regular ongoing communications between the unions and district staff, there would be communications about financial difficulties, and this is what we plan on taking to the board. They would know before it came to us. That's just the way it works.
And there's a scheduled monthly meeting with LTA and Mr. Miller once a month. I think they're less frequent with CSEA as needed, but and that was reestablished with starting at the beginning of this year. So that's an old practice, and then it's been brought back. So we appreciate the leadership of LTA for wanting an ongoing conversation.
Item C, concurrent school design, neighborhoods A, B, and K.
Okay, so I'm going to give a caveat and a warning on this, but I have a big idea. I'd like board consensus direction on this. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to beat the state funding system and the developers' profit needs and to try to get schools built when we're a education program. So the big idea is as follows. We are currently designing a school site in neighborhood AB, Evelyn Costa School. It dawned on me on a drive home recently that neighborhood K is coming online very, very quickly. There were some delays in the design process, and suddenly the window between the two schools' design and approval process aren't so far apart as they were earlier this year. So my recommendation is, and I don't know if I can pull this off, I'm simply saying if you guys like the idea, I'd like to go out and try, is that we take the design that is new and approved that will be going through the system for state approval and the OPSC and DSA in AB and take the same school and plop it down on the lot that they in neighborhood K. The idea being is we would follow the same set of regulations tied to the design. We might be able to get on our 5004 application onto the state funding list sooner, therefore getting the money earlier, and we might be able to save some money because we're not doing two designs. Now that's all hypothetical, and this is a big idea. We would repeat a school site, so we have Altamont and Cordes, different facades, but basically the same thing. We would do that with AB Costa and neighborhood K, and the idea would be is I would contact CalPERS representative from IHP, Peter Bridges, and if he is amenable, we could stake out the plot for the neighborhood K school, have the CDE come out, approve the site as a legit site, and literally repeat the process twice. Not 100% sure I can pull this off, or Mr. Bridges will be supportive of the idea, but I didn't want to dig into this without it. But it could save money. It could get us money quicker. The impact of the delay in the bond sales for the state matching funds tied to Melrose is, or for the state matching funds, is obviously a headache for us. So I wanted to present that to the board as a concept.
We've done it before.
Yeah, my only concern, when would we have to know, I guess, is the first question. Would we be able to build and occupy before we made the decision?
No, it would be this. First of all, this could die as soon as Mr. Bridges, what do you think of this idea? No, CalPERS won't support it, and it's over. This would be more like we've talked to our attorneys about a process to identify an architect, and in this circumstance, we could do that expeditiously. So in that hypothetical, we could ask an architect to repeat the process and submit the same drawings twice. So we would not be able to occupy. If that's the board's will, then this idea won't work.
I only ask because we're trying something new with that school where it potentially is one building, and if they get in there and they don't like it, why are we going to repeat something that we don't, that our staff and our students don't like? That's my only concern. I mean, I believe I was the one that brought forward trying to, duplicate Altamont just because I know it's cheaper, but I don't know. Is that?
I share your concerns. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that we have the luxury of putting it off and waiting in line further down a list and so on.
I guess we'd rather have a school they don't like versus no school.
So again, there's no promise I can pull this off. I simply wanted to throw it out there. It's a big idea. Not all my big ideas are great ideas or work out. So, but I can make a couple of phone calls and then bring back to the board doable or not doable, or what are the pros and cons, and then you can give clear direction and we can move. That way
Yeah, I think
I actually had some questions.
Go ahead.
So I apologize that I do not remember this. The time frame between the two school sites in terms of opening, for lack of a better term, what is the time gap between the two?
So Costa's 2022, K would be 2024, so a 2-year gap.
Okay, that's what I thought.
When we get on the list, it's my understanding, I need to confirm this, but I believe it is a 5-year window to get your funding and get your business together. So if we were to get on 18 months from now, that we would meet the window for 2024.
And I also don't know how this works. I don't remember how it works for schools. Does the design have to be completely done in order to get on the list? I think it does.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
Because in real estate development, I've burned myself in the past. Obviously not for matching funds because we don't have that. But you do the design and then the code changes.
Correct.
And then you got to go back and redo the design. So I think the risk to that strategy is there's a significant code update that impacts the school design after you finish it and before you get your approval, right?
So my understanding, and I can double check this, is we had the similar situation at the high school. So once you're approved, the rules at that time apply for that 5-year window. Yeah. Because when we did the second phase of the high school, there were some updated rules we had to follow that drove up some costs as a result because the window had closed.
The residential construction doesn't have that. It's when you pull the permits. Okay. All right.
California never adds any laws anyway. So we have consensus for the superintendent?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll look into it and bring back information.
Please, thank you. Yeah, and the last we heard from Peter Bridges, the target is still 2024?
Correct. I ran into Mr. Sargent accidentally at a sandwich shop and kind of poked at him about some things, so I can give. They seem to be on pace. I'll leave it at that.
Very good. Moving on to calendar, item A, Wednesday, October 9th is a Wellness Committee meeting at 3:30. Item B, Wednesday, October 16th, next governing board meeting at 7 o'clock. Item C, Thursday, October 24th is the San Joaquin County Office of Education Annual School Boards Dinner, 5:30. Item D, Wednesday, November 13th, Safety Committee meeting at 3:30. Item E, Tuesday, November 12th.
That's the one that we're looking at changing.
We're looking at changing.
So that the 14th was put down as a, that's our target. Then we wanted to move to the 12th. Sharon has a work commitment, so we would just maybe Noel and our calendars can work together, and we'll set a new date. And it's far off into November, so we'll set it up with you guys once we give you a
Actually,
chance.
The 12th, I'm working as well. So.
Okay.
Okay. Item F, Thursday, January 30th, is the DLAC committee meeting at Lammersville. In a moment, we're going to adjourn to closed session where we're going to discuss item A, pupil personnel, education code 48918, student expulsion 1920-01. Item B, conference with labor negotiators. Agency designated representative Superintendent Nicholas, employee organizations, LTA, CSEA, and unrepresented employees. Item C, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, complaint, government code 54957. And item D, governance, conference with real property negotiators for property at 397 East Ramsey Drive, Mountain House. Agency negotiator Superintendent Nicholas, negotiating parties, Mountain House developers, Camilos, Trimark, Shea Homes, under negotiations or price, terms, payment, or both. Do we have a motion?
Move to adjourn to closed session.
Second?
Motion by trustee Pombo, second by trustee Lampel. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are now adjourned to closed session.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, reconvene to open session at 9:10. For item A in closed session item one, A1, student discipline and other confidential matters, education code 35146. The board took action on a motion by trustee Lampel and seconded by trustee Clements to deny staff recommendation of student suspended expulsion of student number 1920-01 for the 2019-2020 school year by the following vote: 4 ayes, 1 absent. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Trustee Clemens, motion to adjourn, second by trustee Lampel. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now adjourned.